the Cupra Ateca, and it's the first model to come along since Cupra became a standalone brand in its own right. You may notice the jazzy badges up front, and in truth, it's hard to miss them. But this is far more than just an Ateca with a body kit. There's some serious performance going on underneath the bonnet. However, does it deserve to be a model in its own right? Let's find out. Image-wise, Cupra has taken the regular Ateca and beefed things up a whole lot. It rides on stiffer suspension, there are wider front air intakes, and more intricate alloy wheels on all four corners. It's a little chalk and cheese. Some may love it, while some may think that it looks a bit like it slid sideways through an aftermarket parts bin. Either way you look at it, it's distinctive out on the road. The Cupra Ateca utilises the same running gear as you'll find in Volkswagen's Golf R. So you get a turbocharged petrol engine with 296 brake horsepower, sending drive to all four wheels through a DSG auto gearbox. 0 to 60 miles an hour? That takes just over 5 seconds, and flat out, you'll hit 152 miles an hour. Not bad for an SUV with space for 5 people and their luggage. The Cupra Ateca is graced with a lot of the positive traits that you want from a performance SUV. It is properly quick. As you mentioned, it takes around 5 seconds to hit 60 miles an hour from a dead stop. And that feels pretty fast in a car of this size. It's also graced with very good body control. Around quicker corners, there's not too much lean, which is exactly what you want, again, from a performance SUV. The byproduct of that is that the ride around town is a little firm, but if you want a better ride, just buy a normal Ateca. This is a performance version. As we've come to expect from performance versions of ordinary cars, you do get a rotary controller in the Cupra Ateca that allows you to tailor the car settings to your specifications. For me, for instance, I like to soften the ride off but have the most aggressive throttle setting that there is, and this makes it a little more pliant for countryside roads. The good thing about the Cupra Ateca is that when you do dial everything back, you're left with a car that is easy to drive and easy to see out of and just genuinely quite easy to live with. In the economy stakes, the Ateca actually does a little bit better than you might think. Cupra claims that it'll do just over 38 mpg, which is just about what you'd want from a performance SUV. The Cupra Ateca shares quite a lot of its mechanicals with the Golf R, as we've already mentioned, and one criticism of that we always had was that it lacked a little bit of theatre. Though it's very capable, it just didn't make you feel all that excited. Is the Cupra Ateca a little more exciting? Well, it is and it isn't. The engine noise still isn't brilliant as it is in the Golf R. It's not very exciting and it's not too intrusive into the cabin, which is a good or a bad thing, whichever way you look at it. Elsewhere, it's more of a novelty factor. The fact that you can be going so quickly in a car this big is really something to be quite excited by. If you blocked the Cupra badge on the steering wheel for just a moment, you could be fooled into thinking that you were actually sat inside a regular Ateca, albeit a very high specification one. Yes, you've got lots of nice finishes and you've got a main infotainment system which is easy to operate and easy to use overall, but it just lacks a little bit of flair. Yes, you do get some contrast stitching on the steering wheel and some slightly dubious carbon fibre effect trim on the seats, but it's all just a little bit underwhelming for a performance-orientated car. That said, it is very well put together and feels befitting of a car with a 40 grand price tag. As a result of the Cupra's all-wheel drive system, there is in fact 25 litres less space than you would find in the regular Ateca. However, you've still got 485 litres of space back here, and this of course can be extended by lowering those rear seats which do fold flat. It would have been quite easy to dismiss the Cupra Ateca as just to see it with some pretty jazzy badges on it, but it's far more than that. It's quick, it's practical, and considering it comes in at just under 40 grand, it's very good value for money too. It really is a viable alternative to a traditional hot hatch, and it's why we'd definitely recommend it.